Hello and welcome to another game analysis video. This time we've got some Dark Elves against some more Dark Elves, so a mirror match. These can be utterly tedious or they can be absolutely fascinating, and I think this is falls in the latter camp. It's a fairly interesting game. So we've got, I've got this almost rookie Dark Elf team, so all I've got is one Blitzer with dodge, but I haven't taken any damage. So otherwise intact, and it's a slightly more developed Dark Elf team in the opposition. They've got a block Witch Elf, a dodge Blitzer, a kick lineman, and taking a couple of hits, so there's a couple of loner linemen on the line. Okay. Before we get started, as always, a reminder, if you can like and subscribe this video is very helpful, and you can also check out my Patreon page, link below. Which has got a list of all of the articles and videos and stuff I do, all collected in one place for you to find easily. Okay, let's get started. So my opponent has won the toss and elected to kick, which is always a good decision. And so I'm going to get my drive started. Here we go. I decided to kick deep with the kick skill, and I'm pretty lucky. I get a reroll off the kickoff, so very happy with that. Fortunately the ball's landed in the end zone all the way back there, but we'll do that in a minute. Quick line of scrimmage talk. As normal, set up to block diagonally, so the three blitzers are going to make 3 blocks, so hitting at an angle, which means if they get pushed back, so I get a second block with a lineman over here, hopefully. If all this goes to plan. Again, a couple of guys there just to defend the blitz, a girl, in fact, Witch Elf, to get the ball at the back, and then another player spare in case she gets hit by a rock or something. Okay, so first things first, just move our spare guy back to cover the ball in case there's a disaster. And then because the ball is safe at the back, we can get our blocks started without having to move the other guys. And my poor opponent get a kill on the first block. There's two loners, 2 journeymen on the line, and the guy who isn't is the one who gets killed, so I'm not very lucky for my opponent there. But obviously great for me. Okay, and because the ball's so far back, I'm happy enough taking a blitz here before we worry about that. But before we do that, we'll just move a little go back here. The best way that my opponent can pressure me with the ball backwards is like trying to get a load of guys in here and trying to prevent the place where I can cage up next turn. This guy is here so that should you want to do that, I've got some protection. This space isn't completely empty. I can sort of form some sort of cage using him or block somebody away or whatever. So off we go. Get this blitz done. Lucky enough I don't fall over. That's great. Okay, and this does a little line of guys here. This little line here. They're there to make it difficult for my opponent to get a 2-dash block on any of these linemen further forward. The only real place he can hit from is here or here, one of these 2 people, which is fine. That's not really a particularly good angle. If he wants to hit any of these people from here, he's going to need to move a second guy in, who I can then block back on my turn. So it's just a little bit of an angle. Run back, try and pick the ball. Fortunately, I fail, and I've got a free reroll, so I'm going to use that in this case because if it goes in the crowd and ends up here, I'm absolutely screwed. So against an elf team, I just have to do that, unfortunately. Opponent going for the block with the Witch Elf. Witch Elves block are really good in early TV Blood Bowl. As you develop along, Wrestle becomes more valuable because there's more blodgers around. You want to try and take people down, but when you can pick on a guy without block with your Witch Elf, they become very, very useful. So that will be my first skill. If I managed to skill the Witch Elf this game, I think there must have been a misclick from my opponent there. But as you can see, he was trying to go for the thing we discussed, which is trying to put some pressure in this area of the pitch to make it difficult for me to cage up. Luckily, I'm quite confident in the speed of the Dark Elf team, so I'm not going to push it too far. I'm just going to cage up in the space I can reach without making too many dice rolls. So quite happy to move my players backwards in order to form this cage. With a slower team, that would be problematic. It would allow the opponent to push onto you and delay your progress. But elves versus elves, it should be okay. So just forming up the cage first, and then I'm going to take a block here to get rid of him, but that's without block, so I'll take this block first, this blitz first with a blitzer, just to try and push forward. And then the idea was to take the blitz and then move him back in there to the cage. I didn't actually play this turn particularly well. I should have. I got caught between a few posts. I got lucky with that power there on that bludger. Got caught between a few ideas. I wanted to maintain this position here, marking these guys on the floor. Also here, wanted to keep marking him, but and also I wanted to form a slightly more, slightly stronger cage, possibly with a person in there to stop my opponent dodging in. Got, you know, caught between a few stools. In the end, it's okay. Because I've got these two guys here protecting the dodge in from this angle, which is probably the most dangerous. If this guy was still on his feet and my opponent wanted to dodge in there for a 5-up 1 dice block, that should be okay. The ball's going to be in a really not going to fall in a bad position. So hopefully that, you know, that turn does a few things. Maybe a bit sloppy, but. I got away with it. It's the kind of turn that if you roll some average dice, you might get caught out on. I was lucky enough not to do the opposite, to roll some good dice. So. My plan for the drive is, as always, just try and score in 8 turns, just try and drag it out, dance around with the Dark Elves, staying out of contact. My opponent is just trying to put pressure on, trying to make me make dodge rolls, which is always great against particularly rookie Dark Elf team. So it's slightly caught between 2 stools, I think. Because my cage is quite deep, he's pressured quite deep, but hasn't really defended this side of the pitch amazingly. So I'm going to try and dive down that side this turn. So I started off with that block with a blitzer, just to see what worked. Probably should have moved that guy first, just to see if I could get. I need to free up some other people, so I want to see if that worked first before I commit to the rest of the plan. Okay, and this is. This turn is a kind of result of the last turn being a bit sloppy, in the sense that I marked up these 2 guys on the floor, but I didn't really push into them particularly hard, which meant my opponent can get up and make it difficult for me to just have a lot of strength and overwhelm that area. So I'm going to have to use my blitz here in order to free that guy up, in order to get a secondary block on one of these other guys. Yeah, so moving the assist in to get the block there. And then just going to cage up as just a basic cage here, rather than pushing too far forward along this line. I haven't quite got the legs for it this turn, but we're slightly further forward, so hopefully next turn we can do that if my opponent does not defend that side of the pitch. Okay. I've got no rerolls. Well, I've got a few rerolls in terms of dodge skill, so I don't want to be making too many dodges. So I've just stood this guy up, rather than trying to dodge him out, and with the eye on putting another guy next to him. So it's 2 on 1 there, which means if my opponent wants to get some blocks out of this guy, he's gonna have to commit resources to it, which is fine because that's not in the most vital area of the pitch. This is the part of the pitch that I'm looking to develop. So if he wants to put 2 extra guys in there, that's fine. And then finally, there's a cheeky dodge at the end of the turn. Everything else has worked, so I can get away with making that dodge there. Whereas this guy, he needed to be stood up. So he started the turn on the floor, which is why I stood him up and didn't dodge with him, because he's much more valuable stood up in a tackle zone than he is waiting to the end of the turn to see if everything works, to then try and make a risky dodge. Luckily my opponent has taken the bait there and moved a couple of guys in on this side to take that block. And yeah, this is a classic example of getting behind the play. So when you're defending, you want to be defending the area where your opponent wants to go rather than the area where your opponent currently is. That's especially true against agile teams like Elves. So my opponent here has marked up all of my players, including these ones at the back, but they're no threat to him. Like, I want to be pushing forward into this S space next turn, and so if I were defending this turn, if I were the other Dark Elves, I would be rushing all my players back as far as possible with the idea that I want to my opponent is going to try and push forward and get into my half, but instead he's moved these guys back and marked these two linemen right at the back that aren't doing anything, and these guys also here. He's defending the space where I currently am rather than the space where I'm trying to move into. Again, that leaves me a nice gap to try and get forward on my next turn. So I took a spot with a lineman to start with, which I'm not sure that's 100% great, but in hindsight, but it worked out. And then again, I could have taken a 2 dice block with this lineman on this guy here if I just moved someone else in, but I wanted to play for position instead. I wanted to get this furthest forward guy even further forward. So I've used my blitz instead. So I've traded one fewer block for a blitz section, or use a blitz section that way. And I'm not going to form like a traditional like standard X cage this turn because I'm quite close to the sideline, so I don't want to give my opponent an easy serve. I don't think he's got 2 Witch Elves in his team, so I'm quite happy forming a slightly less standard cage, but it gives without many opportunities for my opponent to get in. So I mean, technically my opponent can block this blodger away, but it's going to be pretty risky. He's going to have to move a guy in here, a guy in there, and then block against a blodger going into half dice, and then even if it does work, even if he just pushes and gets rid of that person, he's still going to have to make a dodge on a 4+ in to get a hit on the ball carrier, because it will then be filling that square, because the assist will be filling that square, so we'll have to come through this square to get to there. So whilst that cage might not look perfectly safe, it is actually reasonably secure if I can get somebody at the back here. Unfortunately, I needed 1 dodge that turn to absolutely work. I'd have to use a reroll, unfortunately. Okay, and so I'm gonna make another dodge. I want to make it a little bit more secure. That's offering a free surf there. So I'm going to try and dodge another guy out. I'm dodging this guy because these 2 guys standing here, they form a screen which my opponent can't get through. So this is the guy that's the best to dodge in that case, because it doesn't open a gap for my opponent to get through without rolling some dice. Fortunately, that's 2 2-ups on the 2 dodges this turn. So the position's okay, but it's not great. So yeah, my opponent decides that it's too much to try and get the ball this turn, so he's going to try and just come over in this direction and try and stop my progress. And luckily enough, that's a push for me. That's great. My opponent really should be standing these guys up, or moving these guys without dash rolls before he... Yep, this is another little thing to keep an eye on. Prioritising blocks over position. So this guy could have moved all the way back here and been a lot more valuable in terms of stopping my momentum in future turns, but he's decided to go here and take a 2 dice block instead. the chances of him actually killing anybody with this block are reasonably slim, and the value of having somebody in a better position is reasonably high. So generally, you always want to take as many blocks as you can, but you don't want to prioritise that over position entirely. That was a little bit cheeky from my opponent. He took the 2 dice and escaped the frenzy trap. That would have been a halfer if he'd not rolled a pure power, but hey, these things happen. Yeah, as you can see, there's a nice little gap for me to move into this turn, so I can just continue, you know, running around, staying out of contact, forming my cage. So again, with the Blitz action, I could have blocked this Witch Elf to get rid of her, but I wanted to free up this lineman without making a dodge. So I've used my Blitz action with my Blitzer here in order to save me a dodge. That's probably going to cost me a block, but unfortunately I rolled the both down, which is actually maybe roll an additional dodge roll. But yeah, these things happen. You just got to keep sticking to the plan. Yeah, so I was trying to save myself a dodge roll with the ball carrier and with this lineman. But I can still form a cage if I manage to make a couple of dodges. Luckily, I do get those this turn. Definitely shouldn't be this guy first, that's a mistake. I think that's part of the interface. Sometimes you just forget people back here. You can't see them. Again, just ordering my dodges in such a way that should they fail, they cause the least damage. So that's why I haven't dodged this guy here. You might think that he's an obvious person to dodge because he can get forward to this square, but he's actually doing a really good job of blocking off this Witch Elf, or marking at the Witch Elf at this stage. So I can make a dodge with another player, for example this guy, and get the same reward, but for slightly less risk. I decided here that I've got myself into a reasonable position, and so I can take this 2 dice block now, because I'm a guy up, so I can be slightly greedy, and now that I've maintained my cage, I can afford to take that little block. Particularly because it lines up this second one, and that does have some positional value because it kind of rescues these guys here. It frees them up to do something next turn, whereas having seen that my opponent is going to, you know, prioritise blocks over position, I don't want to just leave them there to get hit for no reason. I can gain a positional advantage by knocking his opponents on the floor because he's committed to this position way at the back. Okay, so I've left this guy here, accepting the serve. That turn didn't go absolutely perfectly with the both down block to start with, so I had to do a little bit of compromising, but that's fine. Taking that serve is not getting anywhere near the ball, which just gives me another turn of just doing what I want basically. So that's fine. Was 2 players up at that point, so trading 1 player for another turn of good position is okay. Okay, and as you can see, these 5 guys here, by taking these blocks turn, they're now completely free next turn, so I can use them to reattach to the cage and then get my positional strength back up again. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to try and get the ball somewhere over here, and then I can use these people as part of the wider cage or screen, depending on where I decide to end up. These guys can't get any better position than them, so I'll just tag up a couple of linemen, make some dodges. A little bit of a cheeky lineman dodge blitz here. I thought it was worth a little bit of a risk. With a rookie Dark Ops team, you occasionally have to take a little bit of a gamble. But that just frees up this lineman completely and the Witch Elf to run through. So, you know, basically getting 2 players through for the price of 1 blitz. I just wanted to wait with that blitzer just to see where I was going to end up, and what was going to be the result of the blitz, etc. Just so I knew where the best position for him was. Got my nice dodge blitzer here, my one cool guy, so he's going to come round and form the rest of the gate. Okay, and so this is a great position. This is exactly where you want to be. Turn 6 of your drive, you're in a 4 position, ready to score, but you're not too bunched in. You're not in a space where your opponent can force you to score on your next turn. You've got space that you can move into. This is absolutely ideal. So you've formed a little bit of a cage here, but with an area to go into in your next turn. And there's no point just leaving him there to get surfed, so I'll just do the 3 up 2 up dodge. And yep, lucky enough to get it. So that's cool. Good turn. Yeah, this cage is giving my opponent some real problems because he can't really even get into the ball carrier. You can do that one blitz with the switch off to get a marking on, but he can't get anybody around here to stop me just dodging out on a 2+, worst case scenario. So that's great for me. Yeah, so this one guy is there, but doesn't really defend this area of the pitch, or this area if I move this guy out of the way. And then I get pretty lucky. It's a double one and I go for it there and a stun, so I think that probably locks it down. Unless I do one myself, I think we're in a pretty good position. So again, I'm taking my blitz action to free up a lineman so that he doesn't have to make a dodge. So blitzing with the blitzer, again pretty lucky, get the power. And then I'm gonna just camp out right into the sideline. It's my turn 7, I want to score on my turn 8, so I'm just going to make it as difficult as possible for my opponent to get anywhere near the ball carrier. That's just going to involve like a multi-layered cage rather than a standard cage with the ball carrier in the middle. The ball carrier can go right as far away as possible. In hindsight, I probably should have put lineman in this position rather than the really important dodge blitzer. But that was definitely a mistake. Because my opponent can try and surf that person next turn, especially considering that he's not really in a great spot for getting anywhere near the ball or stopping me scoring. Yeah, so he's just gonna go through. He's gonna surf this guy and then not stop me scoring. So I'm gonna score on my turn. 1-0 to me, which is a skill for my witch up, which is great. And then I'm just gonna see this setup, which is just trying to defend against the one turner. He's got 2 witch elves, so Dark of One Turner is definitely an option. But he does not even attempt it and does not get any damage, so let's skip to the second half. Okay. So this is the start of the second half. It is the opposition's drive. So I'm just setting up like this, 3 guys in the middle to try and mitigate blocks. This fairly central defensive line, it gives me most flexibility to just move all of my guys to whichever side of the pitch he goes down. So should he go for an early score, 2-turn score, I can get even this guy over here to form part of the defence. It also mitigates against, surf shenanigans, which I've sensed my opponent is quite enamoured by. In the turn I skipped past, he did 5 blocks to try and surf a guy off the pitch from the line of scrimmage, ignoring a POW, taking a push. Nice weather and a touchback, that is fine. Okay, so off we go. couple of blocks on the line. And then he's taking a block with a non-bot player, and he's really lucky, he gets the 181. I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have blocked with the blitzer instead. I can't quite get to the ball, so I'm just going to push in and cause him some trouble. This is the value of having the loners, or the problem. If he has these loners, I can push into them, and they basically, you can't use them. First action in a turn, too much risk, trying to dodge and whatever. So it's going to jam in, put some pressure in, and make him roll some dice. As always, when you're trying to put pressure on, everyone goes in. You don't want to have too many people hanging around. You want this switch off here is the safety, the person who, should my opponent may try and make a breakaway, only she can get back and try and cover that, but she can do that while still being in position and getting extra assist here because she's still the furthest player back, so she can reach anywhere. So I'm going to try and blitz over here and then get a tackle zone on the ball. Even though it's a witch elf, it still forces him to activate her. Unfortunately, I get pushed, so I'll just stay around and just mark that guy. There's no point doing crazy stuff. This is a pretty good turn for my opponent. He's just noticed that he can line up a few 2-dice spots on the side of the pitch, and then get the ball carrier over here. So that's fine. Yeah, and that's good. Just trying to get some forward momentum, tag this guy out, stop me getting round, hit the ball carrier. That's it. Gets a good development. But fails one of the dodges with the loner, and obviously doesn't really roll that. So I'm just going to continue my plan, which is just try and put on as much pressure as possible and try and work a blitz on the ball carrier over the course of several turns. Just keep trying to drag him out of position. He's got no one in scoring range this turn, so I can just get my players back, put them in contact, and not worry too much about the ball. Very lucky, get another KO. That's cool. So back to 1 man up because mine didn't come back. Taking a blitz on this blodger. He's the furthest forward player and just trying to push his drive backwards. And I can mark him up again. I'm not going there because I don't want to get surfed. And then this freed up this blitzer to get this 2-dice block, so that's one of the other reasons for hitting this blodger. Okay, so you may think, well, this is a massive gap down here. Why have I just left this here? It's because I don't think he can get too far forward or cause too much of a problem. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 players who can get forward here, so you probably form a little cage just around here somewhere, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, possibly 9 players that can swamp around. So should he dive down this sideline with just his 4 players, I've got a real chance of just swamping him and causing a lot of problems. That's not an attractive option for him, so I haven't over defended. And as you can see, he's decided to come back this way rather than do that. And this is the value of the pressure, because I think I've got if you leave it like this, I've got a 2-dice on the ball next turn, and it's the witch elf without block as well, so that is good. Opponent's not having the best game. Another 2-up dodge there has failed. He's made a few, but not too many. So yeah, I'm just going to have to line up this 2-dice on the ball. the blitz is probably going to come from here, because this guy is going to hit that guy with an assist from somewhere, one of these. Follow up, hopefully, if he knocks over, provide the assist, and then I can move into this square, get 2 dice block. If I mark this blitzer here out of the game. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to get rid of this guy. So I'll go for that bit first. So that's moving the assist in, hitting this guy, pushback is fine. I can move this person in. So I just wanted to check that worked. And then I can commit to this plan, get my assist. These guys, when you're going for the ball, you want to be fairly safe, but you do need some players left to try and get the ball or try and cover where the ball lands should you get it free. So I don't want to move everybody forward and take all my free moves immediately. Then I need some flexibility depending on what the dice roll is. So get the power, that's cool. And now I can get a blitz in with this blitzer, and again, very lucky, get the pout, and a stun, which is cool, but not so lucky that I catch the ball. Ideally, it's probably better off on the floor there. My opponent can 2 dice block me quite easily next turn, and then get the ball back, so that's actually a little bit of a liability. Lots of times catching it's great, but in that particular case, it's not so great. Yeah. Get KO as well. Back to level numbers, 9 aside. And then my opponent catches it on the blodger, which is going to be a problem. On the one side, he can't move this turn, which is great. On the other, it's on a blodger, so I'm going to have trouble getting rid of that. Yeah, moving this guy forward in scoring range is a good decision. And my opponent's just got a very good turn here, dodging a loner, another 3-up dodge here. So that's a little bit of a pickle. So I'm going to have to do what I can. So I've still got... Right, the plan here is that if this block works, if I get a pow here, then I can get 2 dice on the ball. But two dice on the ball where a push is great, because I can come in here, push him back to there, and then move one of these people around here, and then get another 4 dice on the ball carrier with this switch off. So I'm looking at 6 dice on the ball this turn, which even against a blodger is very, very reasonable, very good chance. So I'll try that blitz. Unfortunately, I get a 181 myself. Just slightly disappointing, and that gives my opponent an out, I think, catching the ball and then that 181. So we will just cover these guys who are potential scorers, try and lock that down, and then try and put as much pressure on as possible, stop my opponent breaking away. This might have been a mistake here. I possibly should have saved one of these linemen to mark this lineman here. I don't think I needed to overmark the front here. This is probably a positional mistake. Probably should have one of these 2 guys here, or just left that guy there, and then put another guy marking this loner. That's kind of freed him up a little bit. And my opponent goes for some big dice here, 3-up, 2-up, which is actually fine. This is not too bad. I don't know what he's doing here though. He's put a guy on the sideline, and there's absolutely no chance of him getting anybody else over here to form the other little side of the cage, the pocket. So he's just asking to be surfed next turn. This is one of those really frustrating turns where your opponent makes a hideous mistake, but it's the kind of mistake that you still have to roll dice, and if he gets away with it, it's quite upsetting. Yeah, he's needed a 3-up dodge here, 3-up, 2-up dodge with a lineman, just to get any semblance of protection. So yeah, just gonna just move a couple of people back protectively. This guy isn't actually in scoring range. He'd have to make a handoff to her if he wanted to score, so I'll just move a guy back just in case. And then we'll try and serve this ball carrier. So I've got a 2 dice block here, so I could do 3 up, 2 up myself to try and blitz use my dodge blitzer to get rid of him, but I want to get somebody in for the assist. So if I take a 2 dice block with block against this lineman and get him down, I can just walk everybody through. Fortunately it's a push, but that does allow me to 2 up dodge through. Again, I've got 2 up spot with this lineman here. If I get a power, then that frees up some guys to not make dodges. Fortunately that's another push. This is the point where I was thinking, oh no, this is fate. So I can mark the witch elf off, make it so I can stand there and make a 1 dice block to try and serve the ball. Yeah, this is where I start to get really worried. So that's the team reroll used. So I need 2 up and 3 up to get rid of him with no reroll. But luckily I get it, which is I'm very happy about. I would have been pretty galling should he get away with that, I think. But the kick is just, the throw-in's ridiculous. It couldn't have been better. That's just absolutely perfect for me. With this witch elf just hanging around, not having moved. So yeah, that is gonna turn into a reasonably good score. Okay, and so this little position here, so I've moved this lineman here to tag in this lineman from the opposing team. It both tags him in and also blocks off the line for this blitzer. So this blitzer can blitz the witch elf reasonably easily if I didn't put the guy there. And now he's going to have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going to have to do 2 ups to try and blitz the ball, 1 dice. If I tag in this guy out, it means that he's getting the assist is a lot difficult. You have to make 2 go for it with this loner, although he's not a real, so it doesn't matter. So you're going to make 4 2 ups to try and blitz the ball. In the end, he doesn't even try. He just blitzes somebody else, and then that's 2-0. And then in the end, there's a bit of luck and a bad kick, and then I end up getting 3-0 in this game, which is probably not the kindest result. My opponent didn't play terribly, but I just got a little bit of luck towards the end of the game with this throw in, and then the final drive. But well, there's nothing particularly interesting in terms of decisions after this, so I will call it a day there. As always, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully see you again next time.